What's going on, Not Move Nation? Today is October 9th at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm here with JB Sport Talk and Chalky Charbie. What's going on, guys?
What up?
What
What up?
up?
Going on. So we have some Thursday night football tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles at New York Giants. The Philadelphia Eagles lead the all-time series 95-88-2 against the New York Giants. Philadelphia has won the last 7 out of 10 meetings against the Giants. They've won the last 4 out of 5 meetings against the Giants. And throughout history, the Eagles are 2-0 all time against the Giants on this date, on October 9th. They won exactly by 4 in one of those games and by exactly 18 in the other game. This game is being played on artificial turf in case anybody is interested in looking up the grass versus turf splits for some of these players. I did notice that two of the big time receivers for the Eagles, who AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. It looks like just when I was browsing the splits last night, it looked like AJ Brown has better splits when he's playing on turf than Devontae Smith, but we'll get into that here in just a minute. It looks like Tyrone Tracy might be available to go in this game. I'm seeing yesterday, I'm looking at the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app, and it says Tracy does not carry an injury designation for Thursday's matchup against Philadelphia. So obviously that could be some big news. I would, definitely do my research on that before game time, but it seems like he's going to be available in this game. But Charbie, you mentioned this yesterday. Darius Slayton is out for
Slayton's out.
the Giants, so they're looking pretty thin at that wide receiver position.
Mm-hmm.
What are your, initial thoughts about this game, Charbie or JB? Charbie, we'll start with you. What are your initial thoughts about this game? Who do you see, being a big time player in this game, or who do you like to win this game?
I like the Eagles to win this game. My general thoughts on the Eagles are that they're still trying to find their identity. They're playing a little bit weird right now, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since last season they ranked second best in rushing yards per game. And
Yeah.
this season they rank in rushing yards per game, they rank 25th. So that's a huge difference, from last season. Just
Yeah.
that factor alone.
Yeah. They're also like 31st in passing offense too, or something crazy. They're like bottom five offense, but they're 4-1. So go figure.
I know. I know.
Dude. Yeah.
That's wild.
I know, man. So I don't know how they're doing it. And you brought up something cool about it could possibly be in some hidden stats like special teams.
Yeah, but when we were browsing at the special teams earlier this morning, it seemed like the Giants may have that advantage. But speaking of special teams, I want just to cover the fact that the Giants have Jude Mikatomne kicking because their starting kicker is out. But I'm still seeing that this guy has a strong leg. He's hit 60-yard field goals in practice, and he actually set a school record at Rutgers in college where he recorded 40 touchbacks on 60 kickoffs. So I see that this guy has a pretty strong leg. One of the reasons why I was looking into that is because the Eagles can block some field goals. I mean, we saw that in that game against the Rams. So
Yeah.
I think, this game could very well come down to who performs better in the special teams department.
Good.
JB, what are your first initial thoughts on this game? Are there any players specifically that you're looking at to shine tonight? Can you hear me, JB?
Yep. Yeah. I don't know about like particularly shine. I don't know. I man. mm, I, I like.
Excuse me.
I like. Again, the Giants played the Chargers. The Chargers were pretty good at getting to the quarterback. But I think Jackson Dart poses a threat to them on the ground with his legs. And I think he'll also be able to get some guys with that. He'll also be able to get some guys open. Um, and scat. I think Jackson Dart could have a good game on the ground. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm seeing that the Eagles, in regards to rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks this season, they rank 12th, 13th worst. So they're slightly below average so far this season at defending against that quarterback rushing attack. So you might definitely be on track with that. I think when I'm looking at the passing play percentage, Philadelphia ranks 26th in passing play percentage. So
Mhm.
they like to run the ball. In regards to their play calling, they call a high percentage of rushing plays compared to the other teams in the league. They did the same thing last year. So I think right off the bat, somebody that we have to look at is Saquon Barkley. His over under on rushing yards, last that I checked, was at 86.5. He's gone over that in only 1 out of 5 games this season. However, in 2024, he went over that line in 75% of his games. He was 15 out of 20 going over this rushing line in 2024. He's played one career game against his former team, against the New York Giants, and it was last season, and he torched them. 176 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Also, I was talking about the grass versus turf splits tonight. Once again, guys, this game's being played on artificial turf. There's only 1 year in his career where he averaged more yards per carry on turf than grass. So that is detrimental, to those interested in those turf versus grass splits. Also, though, the Giants rank 8th worst at rushing yards allowed to running backs. In other words, they allow the 8th most rushing yards to running backs this season. And the Giants rank 26th in rushing yards allowed per game and 29th in opponent rushing yards per attempt. So they're basically, all in all, the Giants' rush defense has been bad this season. And although Hurts ranks 29th in rushing yards per attempt, I would have to lean towards Barkley having the better rushing game here tonight, simply because the Giants are worse at defending against the running back position than they are against defending against the quarterback position. Also, Barkley ranks 44th in rushing yards per attempt, so that's not too much far behind Jalen Hurts. And I think last week, let me bring up the box score. I think against Denver, Charbie, I think you mentioned this before we got on the air, that Barkley only had 6 carries last week, and the Eagles are playing on a short week, so his legs can be fresh. Rather
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah, super fresh.
Only 6 carries. One.
Cold
Six
cut fresh.
carries.
Cold cut fresh.
Yep. So I
Cold.
would have to lean towards Barkley going over these rushing yards tonight, but there are some other spots that that I like better than that. JB, who do you see Barkley, having 87 plus rushing yards in this one?
Probably. I know Kansas City held him about 86, I think it
Yeah.
was. So, he's due to really get out there at any point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This could be his get right game, like you're saying, with his legs being fresh. Like some coquettes.
Revenge game against his former team.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
might be why they kind of saved him last week. You know what I mean? Kind of.
Mhm.
Let him loose. Could be.
Yeah, let him loose.
Yeah.
Let him
Charbie, is that what you're
loose.
thinking too? Barkley has a pretty good game on the ground today.
I'm undecided on that one
Okay.
for sure.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Somebody that I was looking for. Now, I did mention that the Eagles call a high percentage of rushing plays, but they will be passing the ball. It's stages of this game. Somebody who, and I'll get into the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith stuff here in just a second, but somebody who I'm really looking at is Dotson. Okay. So the New York Giants rank 24th in passing yards allowed per game. So their pass defense hasn't been great either. Now, Charbie, I think you mentioned this. The Eagles rank 31st in passing yards per game. So they're not torching teams through the air.
I
So,
believe so, yeah.
that kind of makes me want to go with the sleepier player tonight, Dotson. Okay.
Dotson.
So the Giants rank second worst in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers, and they rank worst. They allow the most receptions to wide receivers this season. Let's start off with the receptions because I like Dotson's receptions more than his receiving yards, although I can see them both hitting. His receptions, last I saw, was 0.5. Over under 0.5. So is he going
Book
to get
it.
a reception or not, right?
Book it.
He's gone over that in 4 out of 5 games this season. He went over that in 13 out of 21 games in 2024. And he's gone over this line in 5 out of 6 career games against the Giants. I like this spot for Dotson. Also, his receiving line was listed at 9.5. He's gone over that in only 2 out of 5 games this season, only 7 out of 21 games in 2024. And then he's gone over that line as well in 5 out of 6 games against the Giants. So there's better current data and 2024 data that leads me to believe that Dotson will get over those receptions tonight. Then obviously, if he gets that reception, he's not guaranteed to get the receiving yards. But if he gets the receiving yards, then he's guaranteed to get the reception. So I would lean towards the reception over this Dotson 1+ reception. Also, I think this is a sleepy anytime touchdown score. In 3 out of 6 career games against the Giants, he's had at least one touchdown.
Damn.
Yeah, and last that I saw, those touchdown odds were like plus 700. So anytime touchdown odds. So
Let's go.
yeah.
Guess who's getting a Jahan Dotson parlay all by himself tonight?
Yeah, you can maybe do that, right? The receiving yards, the reception, and the anytime touchdown.
Yeah.
But let's get down to business here. Let's talk about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Charbie, which one naturally are you feeling like is going to have the better game?
AJ.
A.J.
Give me
Brown.
AJ. And let me explain why. AJ's been so frustrated for the last year, right, JB?
Mm-hmm.
And did you hear about that meeting they had yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I guess they're, I guess they're on good terms now, right here. I mean,
That's what I'm thinking. And I'm
they're
thinking
not.
they had a little heart to heart. AJ's hungry.
Possibly.
It's prime time. Bro, I've watched footage and AJ's open a lot. And Jalen's going through his reads, looks right past him. I'm like, what's up with that? So I like the big spotlight for AJ to get his yards, to go off. I know Devonta Smith, Ben, you told me through your research that he's like the leading receiver on the team. He's got a bunch of, he gets all the looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to feed AJ Brown tonight. Chalky Charbie. Give me the
Check
chalk.
it.
Is that the
Give
way
me
you're leaning
AJ.
to? Is that the
Check
way
it
you're
out,
leaning to,
Charbie.
JB? A.J. Brown has a better game than Smith.
Ooh,
Uh,
that's
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
question.
yeah. I think he does have a better game than Smitty.
Smitty.
But who has a better game,
I
AJ
don't know.
Brown or uh Barkley.
I would have to lean towards Barkley.
Big Bark.
Like receiving, I didn't look into Barkley's receiving a whole lot, but like overall, yeah, I think Barkley is the player to watch here for the Giants. Now, I did see that Jalen Hurts. I did see that Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown an interception this year. So I'm kind of thinking he may try to force the ball to AJ Brown and throw a pick tonight. He has thrown an interception in 4 out of 8 career games against the Giants. So I'm not saying that I love that play, but I could see it happen. He's due for an interception.
Yeah.
So let me go through this just a little bit here. Let me talk about some statistics with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Let's talk about their receiving yards. Okay. AJ Brown's over under is 64.5. He's only gone over that in 1 out of 5 games this season, but he did go over that in 11 out of 17 in 2024. And then he's gone over that in half of his career games against the Giants, 3 out of 6. Devontae Smith has better current history going over his receiving line tonight. It's set at 50.5. He's gone over that in 3 out of 5 games this season. He as well went over that in 11 out of 17 games in 2024. So both of these guys went over the same, got over their receiving lines 11 out of 17 times in 2024. But Devontae Smith has better history against the Giants. He's gone over his receiving line in 5 out of 7 career games against the Giants. He's also had He's also had at least 1 touchdown in 4 out of 7 career games against the Giants. So I think if people like Devontae Smith for a touchdown tonight, they got that going for him. Personally, I like the Devontae Smith receiving yards. Yeah, I like, and once again, the Giants allowed the second most receiving yards to wide receivers this year. Now, in regards to receptions, I think I would probably lean towards AJ Brown going over his reception line more than Devontae Smith. They're both set at 4.5. AJ Brown has better current history this season. He's gone over. He's had 5+ receptions in 3 out of 5 games this season, compared to Devontae Smith, who has had 5+ receptions in 2 out of 5 games this season. Also, dating back to last season, AJ Brown has better history. He's gone over that line in 11 out of 17 games in 2024. Devontae Smith, only 7 out of 17. Now, Devontae Smith has better career history against the Giants. He's gone over that line in 4 out of 7 career games against the Giants, and AJ Brown has only gone over 2 out of 6 career games against the Giants. But I would have to lean towards AJ Brown going over those receptions more than Devontae Smith. I would also lean towards AJ Brown getting those receptions instead of his receiving yards. But overall, my favorite play out of those 4 plays is Devontae Smith, 51+ receiving yards.
Yeah. That's a good number, dude.
So with the Giants, let's see what kind of, it's tough for me to pinpoint who's going to do good for this Giants team.
Word.
I mean, one would think that also real quick, let me backtrack real quick to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. I had another statistic that I wanted to mention.
Maybe.
AJ Brown has had 6 more targets than Devontae Smith this season, and Devontae Smith has 6 more receptions. So Devontae Smith is doing more with less. Also, Devontae Smith leads this team in receiving yards. So not only does he have more receptions on less targets, but he has more receiving yards, which isn't surprising if he has 6 more receptions than AJ Brown. But I did want to mention it. But I'm a little lost on who's going to do good for the Giants tonight. I think JB was on a good track with Jackson Dart, his rushing capability. Charbie, what are you thinking about Tyrone Tracy and Scattaboo? Like, who has the better game between those two? Let's say that they both play.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna go with Scatterboo is gonna get his. He's got utility as like a put your head down and get that first down. He can catch the ball a little bit. I haven't really seen Tyrone Tracy play for real, so I've heard good things. JB, you got him on your fantasy team? JB?
Yep, I
Dude, if
do.
you got him on your fantasy team, he's probably worth something. But
Mm.
at any rate, who has the better game? I don't know if one outdoes the other. What do you think, JB? You know about Tyrone.
Yeah, not too much.
What's he about?
I mean, not. I mean, averages like 6.7 fantasy points. I mean, I really don't.
Yeah.
I
I
saw a
think
game.
Scadaboo's the guy.
Is
Scadaboo's
he?
the number
Okay.
one. Yes, I mean that's the number one. You know.
I
But can
saw a
Trace
game earlier this year where um, Tyrone Tracy looks like he had some good kickoff return yards, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are interested in the special teams tonight, I said this at the start of the show. It could come down to special teams, and I would definitely look at some of that information if you're interested in this game. But to me, it seems like, just based on the little information I've browsed, seems like the Giants have the advantage in the special teams department. Um,
Yeah, we were talking about that. They're getting good field position. And then we talked about their red zone percentage. So that's got me tripped out. Like, all right, you're getting in good position off them kick returns, but the conversion in the red zone is a little worrisome. A little bit.
the biggest positional defensive vulnerability that I see with the Philadelphia Eagles is receiving yards allowed to running backs. Okay. The
Mm.
second biggest positional defensive vulnerability that I see with the Eagles is rushing yards allowed to running backs. So I think Scatterboo and Tracy, in order for the Giants to be successful tonight, they're going to have to come up big. Okay.
And Dart too.
It's tougher for me to pinpoint player props with rookies such as Scatterboo and Tracy, who I believe this is his second year. But I wouldn't be surprised if either one had, or both potentially, had solid games,
Do you like
receiving and rushing. Because in this game, I got to lean towards the Giants plus the 7.5. The line was 7 when I looked earlier this week, and I checked again this morning, and now it's at 7.5. So I don't know how the Giants get it done, but I think it's going to come down to Dart's mobility, and
yeah.
Scatterboo and Tracy's rushing and pass catching abilities.
And
Obviously, I
don't
think Wandale Robinson might see a ton of targets,
yeah.
but I think some of these other guys are going to have to step up.
Bro, they use a double tight end set, the Giants. I think they're gonna hit tight ends. They're gonna try to hit tight ends pretty heavy. Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger.
But that concerns me if they're going to try to attack this Philadelphia defense in that specific position, because
Oh,
the
okay.
Eagles. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I like your take on
Right.
it, but I'm just a little hesitant on it because the Eagles rank third best in receiving yards allowed to tight ends.
Oh, okay. Dang.
So, if I'm the Giants, man, I'm looking to use the running backs as pretty much as possible, not just
Yeah.
ground, but through the air as well. Wandale Robinson, I could see him having, a big gain or two in this one. He ranks 60th in yards per catch this season, and the Eagles rank 24th in opponent yards per completion. But I think that Eagles defense will be kind of zoned in on Wandale, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know what their game plan is. It's like their receivers are limited, so Wandale's the obvious target monster. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the Giants are, what kind of game, what kind of game they're gonna call tonight. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah, it should be fun. Now, just a few more statistics for you guys. Now, I see that Philadelphia has a pretty good sized third down conversion rate. So what I like to do is look at Philadelphia's third down conversion rate, compare that to the Giants' opponent third down conversion rate, and do the same thing for the Giants, and then compare all of that as a whole. So overall, I give the Eagles a pretty good sized third down conversion advantage. I see the Eagles have a huge red zone conversion advantage. You and I talked about that before the show, Charbie. The Eagles, nobody's better at converting touchdowns when they enter the red zone than the Philadelphia Eagles. They rank first, and nobody is
But
worse at converting touchdowns when they enter the red zone than the Giants. They rank 32nd. So
yeah, but I think you said that the Eagles don't really get down to the red zone a whole lot.
that's the thing, is the Eagles
Yeah,
rank 25th in opponent, or excuse me, in red zone attempts per game. And
yeah.
the Giants are limiting their opponents very well when it comes to preventing them from entering the red zone. They rank fifth. Actually, both of these teams rank fifth, but in opponent red zone attempts per game. But the Giants rank seventh in red zone attempts per game compared to Philadelphia's 25th red zone attempts per game standing. So overall, I give Giants a slight red zone attempts per game advantage. I also give the Giants a slight sacks on the quarterback advantage. I do give the Philadelphia Eagles a big turnover differential advantage. They rank seventh best in the NFL. They're plus four in turnover differential. And the Giants are -5. They rank third worst. So the Giants, man, they got to take care of the football tonight as best as they can,
No.
and do the small things right.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the Giants season right here. They have a 1-4 record. Will this be a bad loss for Philadelphia? Yes, it would be. And I'm not necessarily saying that Philadelphia loses this game. Personally, at plus 7.5 with the Giants, they could win by 7 and you'd still be, I'd still be all right. But this is the Giant season is basically on the line here.
Mhm.
Yeah, some would say, yeah.
I mean, after a 1-5 start, don't get me wrong, there are teams I'm sure that have come back, made the playoffs, after a 1-5 start. But
I mean,
The odds are thin.
with neighbors out, you think they're hopeful of trying to get to the playoffs with what they got? Like, what would be a successful season for the Giants? Like, I don't know.
probably winning one more game. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. I want to see the Giants win tonight.
I do know. I do think Dable is kind of a little bit got a little heat on him too. So like, he needs to scrape up every win he can get, and they're at home too. So, and there's been some upsets on these primetime games, bro.
The last that I saw, the over-under on this game was 40.5. JB, do you think there's 41 plus points scored in this game? Now, the last 5 out of 10 meetings between these teams have gone over, so it's split right down the middle. I'm kind of thinking it's a lower scoring game.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking too?
Yeah, lower scoring.
You taking the under, JB?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna
Dang.
take the under.
I don't necessarily like the under, but I would lean towards the under on this one. It's honestly, it's tough, like to say something that I like, but I do like, the Giants plus 7.5. I like Devontae Smith's receiving yards, and I like Dotson over 0.5 receptions. Devontae Smith over the 50.5 receiving yards. Those are probably the plays that I'm looking at tonight. And then I do want to just touch on Jalen Hurts passing yards real quick, because I know people are probably interested in that prop. Last that I checked, it was at 195.5. He's gone over that in only 2 out of 5 games this season, but he went over that more times than not last season, 10 out of 19. 4 out of 8 career games against the Giants, he's gone over that. He's technically played 2 other games against the Giants, but he didn't have any pass attempts in that rookie season. If I were to lean one way, I'd probably lean towards the under, although the Giants have a bad pass defense, and they rank 9th worst in passing yards allowed to quarterbacks. But
Yeah.
anyways, do you guys have any other thoughts on this game?
Man,
Let's do our
I'm-
final score predictions. Yeah, JB, but did you have something else that you wanted to talk about?
no, I was gonna say not really. I really don't.
Okay.
I think it's
Chalky Charbie.
Chalky Charbie. Final score?
Yeah.
Give me 27-17. Give me that chalk. Give me them Eagles.
Eagles to cover and the over, Charbie says.
That's what I'm
JB.
thinking.
yeah. I'm gonna say 14 to 28.
Eagles win 28 to
Eagles,
14.
yeah.
I said to I said to Charbie before the show, and I just got to stick with it. I don't know how the score is going to get here, but give me 19 to 13. Eagles win, but Giants cover.
Ugly game. Cool.
Ugly game, and
Good little defensive game.
And just in case anybody was wondering, I didn't see any weather concerns for this game. So the biggest things that I would keep up to date with leading up to game time is really Tyrone Tracy's availability and or workload. So
yeah, that'll be cool to see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back here Sunday morning to break down the other games. Thanks for tuning in. If you could hit that subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. But we appreciate you guys for being here regardless. JB, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
No, not at the moment.
All right, guys. Well, take care. Thanks for joining. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Not move.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.